Hello there, and thanks for joining me this Sunday on 7Edition. I'm Ras Adibaratzi, and these are your top stories. Home Ministry looking into setting up DNA Databank to prevent illegal sale of MyCard and birth certificates. 2 Malaysians nabbed for allegedly smuggling 1.2 tons of drug precursor into Australia. 57 schools in Kuala Lumpur and Klang to close tomorrow. Assalamualaikum, and it's good to see you again. The Home Ministry is looking into establishing a DNA databank to prevent illegal issuance and sale of MyCard and birth certificates to foreigners. Its Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said this was one of the recommendations proposed by the National Registration Department, JPN, in addressing the issue. In a statement today, Tan Sri Muhyiddin said the idea was to include DNA information in birth certificates in order to prevent leakage in the long run. Other recommendations included requiring all birth registrations be done only at the JPN headquarters instead of the department's state offices. Tan Sri Muhyiddin said these measures were proposed at a meeting chaired by the Ministry's Secretary-General Tan Sri Alwi Ibrahim last Wednesday. The meeting was called following reports on the illegal issuance and sale of MyCard and birth certificate to foreign nationals in Penang recently. Moving forward, he said JPN officers would not be allowed to hold the same position for more than 2 years in a bid to minimize abuse of power. A review of all unclaimed birth certificates would also be conducted so that they can be deactivated from the system to avoid misuse. 2 Malaysians, including one with a student visa, were detained by the Australian authorities on suspicion of being involved in the smuggling of 1.2 tons of ephedrine into the country. Boxes containing the stimulant, also used for manufacturing high-quality synthetic drugs, such were hidden in a container which was declared as containing furniture from China. The suspects, aged 63 and 22, were detained on September 16 at a warehouse in Roseland, Sydney, when they were in the midst of opening the boxes containing the ephedrine. The amount of the ephedrine was sufficient to produce a ton of shabu or ice, with an estimated market value of 750 million Australian dollars, or 2.1 billion ringgit. According to the New South Wales Australian Border Force Regional Commander Daniel Yiannopoulos, the 2 suspects would be charged with importing illegal substances in large quantities at the Downing Central Court on November 13. They face a maximum jail term of 25 years or a fine of 1.05 million Australian dollars, equivalent to 2.9 million ringgit, or both. Both were taken to the Burwood local court on September 17th, where they were remanded. Back on the home front, a male suspect was believed to have used an explosive device to try and blast open an ATM in Taman Johor Jaya in Johor Bahru this morning. Unfortunately for him, police say he failed to open the machine and left empty-handed. Authorities who rushed to the scene and after receiving a call at 7:17 a.m. said that they found that one of the 2 machines was damaged while the ATM's glass enclosure had shattered. The case is being investigated under the Penal Code. Moving on, a man was sentenced to 5 years jail and fined 90,000 ringgit in default 2 years jail for 3 counts of criminal breach of trust, CBT. Alustar Sessions Court Judge Azman Abu Hassan handed down the sentence on Abdullah Sani Ismail after finding him guilty of the charges. The 64-year-old man was a personal advisor of well-known herbal product entrepreneur Dato Dr. Cik Rosmi Cik Din. He was ordered to serve the jail sentence from today and was spared the whipping sentence due to age factor. The court, however, allowed a stay of the jail sentence pending an appeal, but ordered him to pay the fine. Abdullah Sani was charged with committing CBT involving rental payments of a property entrusted to him by Datuk Cik Rosmi. The offences were committed between September 2014 and July 8, 2016, involving a combined transaction of 246,600 ringgit. In Johor, a former private secretary to Tebrau Member of Parliament Stephen Chung was charged in the Magistrates Court with 7 counts of cheating. 27-year-old S. Saswin Nair had formerly worked for Tebrau MP, had pleaded not guilty after he was accused of cheating 6 victims, amounting to more than 39,000 ringgit. The charges involved affordable housing deposits, back-to-school vouchers and jewellery purchases. He allegedly committed the offences between November last year and July this year. All the charges were framed under Section 420 or 420 of the Penal Code, which provides an imprisonment for up to 10 years and whipping and liable to fine if found guilty. The court set bail at 14,000 ringgit and 2 sureties for all charges and fixed October 23rd for case management. A used item store on Jalan Metro Perdana in Kepong, Kuala Lumpur was almost completely destroyed in a fire last night. It took 35 firemen from 4 stations to contain the raging blaze before it was completely extinguished at around 10:13 p.m. Fortunately, no casualties or injuries were reported in the incident. The firefighters were from the Jinjang, Gombak Selatan, Sri Hartamas and Sentul fire stations. They were deployed to the scene after distress calls received at 9:34 p.m. About 80% of the 2-storey building was already engulfed in flames when the firemen arrived. The cause of the fire and estimated amount of losses are still under investigation. "57 schools in the Kuala Langat and Klang district in Selangor will shut their gates tomorrow due to the haze. This is due to the Air Pollution Index API reading at the Johan Setia Klang station breaching 200, putting it at very unhealthy levels this afternoon. The closure will affect more than 68,000 students in the 2 districts. 30 of the schools were in the Kuala Langat district, while 27 of the schools were in the Klang district. The Selangor Education Department, in a statement, also reminded schools in areas with API readings above 100 to stop all outdoor activities involving students. Schools that had readings above 200 were ordered to immediately close. Meanwhile, schools in Kuala Lumpur will reopen tomorrow after closing last Thursday and Friday. This is after the API readings in Kuala Lumpur showed a downward trend below 200. Now, over in Singapore, the air quality hit the unhealthy level again this afternoon, just hours ahead of the Formula One Singapore Grand Prix 2019 final race, which kicks off tonight. In a 2 p.m. update, the country's National Environment Agency, NEA, said the 24-hour pollutant standard index PSI readings ranged between 101 and 116, with the highest recorded in the southern part of the Republic. The PSI readings first entered the unhealthy range across the Republic on September 18th before settling mostly in the moderate range for the past few days. The NEA added that for the next few days, the weather in the region was expected to remain generally dry. The agency also said hotspot activities and hazy conditions were expected to persist over central and southern Sumatra and in Kalimantan. However, the prevailing winds in the region are forecast to blow from the east, and this may bring an improvement to the hazy conditions in Singapore. With the haze back in full force, some of you might be contemplating which is the best air purifier to buy to deal with the haze, or perhaps a humidifier would work better. Our reporter, Ui Beng Chiang, speaks with an air pollution expert to seek out the answers.
University of Nottingham, Malaysia's Dean of Science and Engineering, Professor Andy Chan, has been studying air pollution for the last 20 years. According to him, when picking an air purifier, the one with a HEPA filter works best.
So this is what we call HEPA filter. HEPA, H-E-P-A, means high efficiency particulate air filter. So what it does is that it was originally designed for medical and nuclear use. So there's a standard for it. It can absorb 99.95% of the particles that go through it. So it is a very, very effective way to remove dust at home. General dust and of course the haze. So
when comparing air filters, look at how often it changes the air.
Usually for these things, it is designed for what we call air change per hour. So the term that we talk in ventilation parlance is air change per hour, so ACH. Usually, for a typical room, okay, the standard is around 5 to 10, meaning that in 1 hour, the recommended air will change 5 times in 1 hour. So these will help to promote that. All right, so
air purifier comes with filters that you can change when it gets dirty. But here's a tip from Professor Chan that makes them last longer.
Now, if you have an air purifier at home, you don't actually need to buy the replacement filter or cartridge inside. What you do is, you open it out, take out the filter, and you just dust it off. Give it a good bang, like this. So the dust will come out, or what you can do is, you can actually take a vacuum and suck the dust out. Okay? Don't wash it. It can't get wet. So if you clean it regularly, maybe 1 to 2 months, it should give you another 1 to 2 years lifespan on it.
Some air purifiers also come with an ionizer built in. It works by sending an electrically charged ion into the air that attracts the dust to it. You might also have seen these devices advertised as water air purifiers. According to Professor Chan, they work as air scrubbers, sucking in air and using the water to scrub it clean.
They are also equally effective. If you can't afford an air purifier, in fact, one of the alternatives that I always suggest to people is to get a humidifier. Humidifiers are cheaper and more affordable. What happens is that when you have a humidifier at home, so it makes the surrounding air more humid, and the water vapor will be able to pick up most of the air particle and therefore clean up the air domestically. So this is actually a cheaper, more affordable, and quite an effective way to remove air particles as well.
If you can't afford any of these, there is a cheaper alternative.
If you can't even afford an air purifier or a humidifier, simply get a number of pails of water and let the water evaporate at home, and this will also increase the humidity of the air at home, and therefore it does help to remove particles.
Wei Bing Chiang, reporting for 7Edition.
Great tips. Thank you, Bin Xiang. Now, let's take a break. When we come back, Hong Kong's latest protest turns violent. Details next. I'm Rasat Barazi, and you're still with us on 7Edition. Some foreign news. Hong Kong protesters were on a violent rampage at the shut-in New Town Plaza shopping centre a few hours after their plan to disrupt the city's airport failed. This after rail and bus links to the airport were significantly reduced and security checks were tightened ahead of Sunday. Now, most shops in the city have been shut down, with alarms ringing across the mall, and this also led protesters to also target the MTR yet again.
Hong Kong is into its 16th straight weekend of protests, and it's believed that crowds are taking over the mall in Sha Tin and targeting businesses run by mainland operators or which they deem are pro-Beijing. Footage shows hundreds of people chanting inside the shopping centre and unveiling banners from the mall's balconies. The protests then escalated. With tear gas and force, police struggled to contain protesters who sprayed water, oil and soap throughout the mall and those who set fires to barricades they built outside it. Protesters also desecrated a national flag and threw it into the river in Sha Tin. A statement was quickly released by the police to warn all protesters to stop illegal acts and leave immediately. Ignoring the call, dozens of residents, some wearing masks, gathered at the connecting MTR exit a few hours after the mall rampage. More than 20 officers in riot gear are on standby as some 100 protesters taunt them at Elements Mall in Kowloon Station. The ongoing protests escalated in June over a bill now withdrawn that would have allowed suspects to be sent to mainland China for trial.
Demonstrators in the U.S. marched through Washington, D.C. on Saturday to protest against the policies of President Donald Trump's administration and demand accountability from politicians. Under the motto, "We the People March," thousands marched from Freedom Plaza to the U.S. Capitol to publicly decry what they see as an assault on U.S. democracy, as protesters look to put pressure on the Democratic Party to hold the Trump administration accountable. A large number of placards held by protesters also bore a simple message that any Democrat will do instead of Trump.
Most of these people took office and all they care about is getting re-elected in 2020. No way. We put you there to be a check on Trump, to hold him accountable. This is our house. We elected you to run our government. We the people, not to only care about getting re-elected. We elected you to uphold our Constitution, our country's laws, our country's norms, which are being broken daily.
Among the issues cited by protesters were the Trump administration's crackdown on undocumented immigrants, the accusations of collusion with Russia during the 2016 election cycle, and the Republican president's alleged conflicts of interest. Many of the demonstrators were deeply frustrated with the way the Democratic Party goes about in its efforts to challenge the president. At the same time, they believe that impeachment needs to be done soon and major changes should be made during voting next year. A marriage proposal turned tragic when an American man from Louisiana drowned while proposing to his girlfriend underwater in Tanzania. The couple, Stephen Weber Jr. and Kenisha Antoine, were on vacation in Africa earlier this week when the incident occurred. Antoine, an attorney, posted about the tragic accident on her Facebook page early Friday with photos and videos of the proposal. In the video, Weber can be seen swimming underwater and holding a Ziploc bag with a handwritten note inside. The death of the man caught many netizens' attention on Facebook, who sent their condolences as well. It has not been reported how the drowning incident actually occurred. Now let's hop on to our daily segment, Clickbait, where we take a look at what's trending and making the rounds in the cyber world today. Back in 2016, the news in the UK about the then new £5 notes containing animal fat shocked millions of people, especially vegans and vegetarians. Now, what are the chances that the same substance is being used in the production of our ringgit notes? This came after a recent statement by a local pharmaceutical sciences professor in a report that claimed that our notes actually have traces of pork fat or tallow. But don't fret just yet, as this claim has yet to be confirmed by Bank Negara Malaysia, which is currently looking into the allegation. Here's the story. In an interview with Malaysia Gazette, Professor Dr. Zari Ismail from University Science Malaysia claimed that based on information obtained from industry players, pork fat is being used in the printing process of the nation's printed ringgit. Shocking, right? However, Dr. Zari, who is also a member of the National Fatwa Council, added that there is a need for a statement to be released to verify whether the claims made are true or false. Federal Territories Mufti Datuk Sri Dr. Zulkifli Muhammad Al-Bakri, who commented on the matter, also stressed that a thorough lab analysis needs to be conducted to verify the shocking claim. So far, the government has yet to comment on this issue. So let's just wait for the lab results first, shall we? Now, in previous cases, traces of pork DNA and E. coli have been proven to exist on US dollar notes. The ingredient is chosen in modern currency production because it contains stearic acid that provides the anti-static and anti-slip properties to maintain the smoothness of the notes. Another not commonly known fact, tallow can also be found in a variety of everyday products, including plastic bags, makeup products, tires, and even candles. When we return, who says playing video games can't be healthy? Don't touch that dial. Hello again. A total of 21 traditional games were hailed as the country's national heritage at the recently concluded 5th installment of the Malaysian Games Festival. The nostalgic festival saw 630 foreign and local participants from all over the country battle it out at Dataran Merdeka in Kuala Lumpur. The event was jointly organised by the National Department for Culture and Arts and Kuala Lumpur City Hall. Participants of various backgrounds, from enforcement officers to private sector employees, exhibited their skills in sepak raga and congkak, to name a few. The laughter-filled event also attracted curious foreign tourists to chance their luck at Malaysian favourite traditional games such as Galah Panjang and Batu Seremban. Also featured at the festival this year was the modern gasing, more popularly known as Beyblades, which have become the craze for children. Adding more colours to the annual event were visitors dressed up in traditional clothing, including the kain sarong and tanjak. The Malaysian Games Festival, held for 3 days until last Monday, was aimed at promoting and preserving Malaysian traditional cultures, arts and other heritage. Over 200 people from the Malaysian eSports community participated in the maiden Malaysian eSports run on Saturday. Organised by game developer Montun, the amazing Mobile Legends Bang Bang MLBB Run 2019 was aimed at promoting a healthier lifestyle among gamers. Held at the Alam Damai Recreation Park in Kuala Lumpur, the amazing MLBB Run also attracted supportive parents who wanted to have a good time with their children.
Okay, MLBB Run ni dia satu benda yang bagi saya amat bagus sebab kita boleh bonding dengan anak. So sebab kita usually kita kerja daripada Isnin sampai Jumaat, kadang-kadang kita balik malam. So dengan adanya program-program macam ni, kita boleh luangkan lebih masa lah dengan anak-anak yang kita sayang, sebab kita pun kalau ikutkan memang tak cukup masa lah dengan anak macam tu.
The sentiment was echoed by Moonton Regional Marketing Manager Nelson Woon, who said that the event promoted healthy family relationship and interaction. Woon also applauded the public's overwhelming support in promoting and raising awareness on responsible and healthy gaming.
The amazing MLBB Run is, if you guys have followed our first global conference, we have mentioned about it that Moonton actually supports healthy gaming. So we organized the amazing MLBB run to merge the benefits of eSports gaming and also physical activities, and also it's also part of our plan to actually promote healthy family interactions. You'll be seeing parents with gamers playing together in terms of Mobile Legends eSports.
The MLBB's run featured various activities from cosplay appearances and trivia quizzes to family-oriented exercises. Participants were awarded with medals and certificates upon completing the 1-hour evening run, which ended at 6:15 p.m. The top 10 runners also received VIP tickets to the first ever MLBB World Championship happening in Malaysia later this year.